Imagine two women arriving at a high school graduation prom in a Philadelphia suburb. Both are 45 years old. Both have worked in healthcare management for about 15 years. Both earn approximately $113,000 annually. Both have two children. Both own homes in similar neighborhoods. From the outside, their lives seem almost identical. Their professional careers, socioeconomic status, and purchasing power have progressed almost entirely parallel for years. Linda has $195,000 in her retirement savings. She invests 5% of her salary in her $401,000. This is the minimum amount required to receive her employer's contribution, the minimum amount needed to avoid missing out on free money. Her home mortgage has 13 years remaining. She hasn't seriously considered retirement because it seems so far away. She's not 50. She has plenty of time. She tells herself she'll increase the numbers next year when life gets less chaotic, and she keeps postponing financial planning. Catherine has $210,000 in retirement accounts, not much more than Linda. She also contributes 5% to each of her 401k accounts. Both houses have 11 years left on their mortgages. Her financial situation is almost identical to Linda's. The forward-looking projections on paper are almost interchangeable. 17 years later, both women are 67. Both have stopped working. Both have officially retired. Linda has $460,000 in retirement savings, plus $2,000 in monthly Social Security benefits. She can safely withdraw about $3,000 a month without depleting her savings prematurely. That's $39,000 annually to finance her entire life. After housing costs, bills, health insurance premiums, and basic expenses, she has almost nothing left for travel, hobbies, or helping her grandchildren. She looks at her account balance with apprehension every month. She turned down her daughter's wedding venue because she couldn't afford the plane tickets and hotel. Some nights she can't sleep because of math problems she doesn't want to do, experiencing a silent, heavy feeling of financial paralysis. Catherine has $1.2 million in retirement savings. With her monthly Social Security payments of $2,300, she can safely withdraw about $6,000 a month. That's $74,000 annually. Last fall, she spent 3 weeks in Portugal. She plans to help with her granddaughter's college fund. She doesn't check the account balance because she doesn't need to. She keeps track of the accounts. She sleeps soundly at night. At 50, the same starting point, the same careers, the same incomes, yield completely different results at 67. This difference didn't stem from Catherine being lucky with investments. It didn't stem from inheriting money. It didn't stem from her working much harder and earning much more money. This difference arose because of certain decisions Catherine made between ages 50 and 67 that Linda didn't. Decisions that seemed small at the time. Decisions that led to a $730,000 difference in 17 years. This is what people misunderstand about your 50s and 60s. People assume that the trajectory of life stabilizes until age 50. They assume that the money they've accumulated by middle age equals what they'll have in retirement, and a little more. They assume that the years of great wealth accumulation are behind them. In fact, the opposite is true. Your 50s and 60s are not the end of your financial story, but its peak. In those 17 years, more wealth is accumulated or destroyed than at any other similar period of your life. The decisions you make between the ages of 50 and 67 have a greater impact than those you make at any other age. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why your 50s and 60s are so important. I'll explain the specific decisions that differentiate a comfortable retirement from a stressful one. And no matter your current age or savings level, I'll explain what you can do right now to ensure you're on the right side of this divide. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you're in your 50s or 60s, this information is immediately applicable. If you're younger, this is a roadmap for the most important financial decade of your life. In either case, understanding what happens during these years changes your approach to every financial decision between now and retirement. Before we tackle specific important decisions, let me explain the structural advantages that make your 50s and 60s uniquely powerful for wealth building. During these years, four forces converge that don't come together at any other point in your life. The first factor is peak earning power. For most professionals, income peaks between the ages of 50 and 55. You've accumulated decades of experience, expertise, and professional connections. Your salary reflects that accumulated value. The amount of money available to build wealth is higher than it has ever been and will never be. A person earning $145,000 at age 53 has more raw material to build wealth than someone earning $85,000 at age 34. Even if the percentage saved remains constant, the potential annual savings are significantly greater. The second factor is the compensatory contribution advantage. Tax legislation explicitly supports individuals over 50 with increased retirement contribution limits. In 2026, the standard 401k contribution limit is set at $23,500. But if you're 50 or older, you can contribute an additional $7,500 annually, bringing your total to $31,000. For people aged 60 through 63, a super catch-up provision allows an additional $11,250 on top of the standard limit, bringing the total potential contribution to $34,750 annually. Roth IRA limits follow a similar pattern. The standard limit is $7,000, but people 50 and older can contribute $8,000. These enhanced limits exist because legislators understand that many people reach their 50s behind on retirement savings. The catch-up provisions create a legal pathway to accelerated accumulation during the years when you're most able to take advantage of them. The third force is expense reduction. By your 50s, many major expenses have peaked or disappeared entirely. Children become financially independent. The average cost of raising a child through age 17 is roughly $310,000 in 2026. When that expense category ends, substantial monthly cash flow becomes available for redirection. The mortgage approaches payoff. If you bought your home in your 30s and maintained the original 30-year term, you're within 10 to 15 years of eliminating your largest monthly expense. College funding concludes. If you've been helping children with education costs, those payments eventually end. Career wardrobe, furniture, and establishing life expenses have long since been handled. The baseline cost of maintaining your lifestyle often decreases even as your income peaks. The fourth force is the final compounding window. This is the force most people underestimate. At 50, you have 15 to 17 years until traditional retirement at 65 to 67. That's enough time for money to roughly double at historical market returns. A dollar invested at 50 becomes approximately $2.75 by 67 at 7% annual returns. This isn't the 40-year compounding window available to a 25-year-old, but it's substantial. Someone who increases their savings rate dramatically at 50 still has time for compound growth to multiply their efforts. The person who dismisses these years as too late to matter fundamentally misunderstood the math. 15 years of aggressive saving and investing, combined with catch-up contributions and reduced expenses, can transform a concerning retirement outlook into a comfortable one. Now, let me show you the specific decisions that Catherine made and Linda didn't, because these decisions explain the $735,000 gap between them. The first decision was maximizing catch-up contributions immediately. At 50, Catherine increased her 401k contribution from 6% to the maximum allowed. Her employer offered a 4% match, so her total annual retirement contribution jumped to $31,000 plus the match. Linda kept her contribution at 6%. She told herself she'd increase it later when things settled down. Things never settled down. Each year passed with the same 6% contribution. Let me show you what this difference produced over 17 years. Catherine contributed $31,000 annually from age 50 to 67. With employer matching and average returns of 7%, her 401k alone grew from $220,000 to approximately $940,000. Linda contributed approximately $6,700 annually over the same period. Her 401k grew from $185,000 to approximately $420,000. The contribution difference alone accounts for roughly $520,000 of the gap between them. Catherine didn't earn more money. She directed more of her existing earnings toward retirement. The second decision was eliminating the mortgage before retirement. At 52, Catherine refinanced her mortgage to a 15-year term. Her payment increased by $400 monthly, but she would own her home outright by 67. Linda kept her 30-year mortgage. The lower payment felt more comfortable. She planned to keep paying through retirement. By 67, Catherine's housing costs dropped to property taxes and insurance, roughly $800 monthly. Linda still pays $2,200 monthly on her mortgage, with 7 years remaining. The difference in monthly cash flow is $1,400. Over the course of retirement, Catherine will spend approximately $16,800 annually on housing. Linda will spend approximately $26,400 annually until her mortgage is paid off, then drop to the same $800. But the advantage extends beyond cash flow. Catherine's home equity is fully accessible. If she ever needs to downsize or relocate, she can sell and capture the entire value. Linda's equity is partially trapped in ongoing mortgage payments. The mortgage decision seemed small at 50. By 67, it fundamentally shapes retirement quality of life. The third decision was strategic Social Security timing. Catherine delayed claiming Social Security until age 70. For each year you delay past full retirement age, benefits increase by approximately 8%. Delaying from 67 to 70 increased Catherine's monthly benefit from $2,100 to $2,600. Linda claimed at 62, the earliest possible age. She wanted the money immediately. Her benefit was permanently reduced by 30%, dropping from $2,100 to $1,470 monthly. The difference is $1,130 monthly, or $13,560 annually for the rest of their lives. If both women live to 85, the Social Security decision alone creates a gap of approximately $244,000 in lifetime benefits. Linda made the common mistake of viewing Social Security as free money she should claim immediately. Catherine understood that Social Security is longevity insurance, and maximizing that insurance required strategic patience. The fourth decision was healthcare bridge planning. Catherine knew that retiring before Medicare eligibility at 65 would require private health insurance. She researched Affordable Care Act marketplace options years in advance, understood the premium subsidies available at different income levels, and built healthcare costs into her retirement projections. Linda didn't research healthcare until she was forced to retire at 63 due to company restructuring. She discovered that COBRA continuation would cost $1,800 monthly. Marketplace options were confusing, and she enrolled in a plan that cost more than necessary because she didn't understand the subsidy structure. The healthcare planning difference cost Linda approximately $15,000 over the 2 years before Medicare eligibility. More importantly, the stress of unexpected healthcare costs in early retirement set a tone of financial anxiety that persisted. The fifth decision was lifestyle maintenance versus lifestyle reset. When Catherine's children became financially independent, she didn't increase her standard of living. The money that had gone towards supporting them went directly into retirement accounts. Her lifestyle stayed constant while her savings rate increased. When Linda's children became independent, she upgraded her car, renovated her kitchen, and started taking more expensive vacations. She told herself she'd earned it. The extra cash flow that could have gone toward retirement was absorbed by lifestyle inflation. This pattern, maintaining lifestyle while redirecting freed-up cash toward savings, is one of the most powerful wealth-building behaviors available in your 50s. The person who does it accelerates toward retirement. The person who inflates lifestyle runs in place. Let me tell you about Robert to illustrate the dramatic transformation is possible even starting from a difficult position. Robert hit 50 with $73,000 in retirement savings. He'd gone through a divorce at 42 that wiped out half his accumulated assets. He'd spent his late 40s rebuilding from near zero while paying child support. At 50, Robert felt hopeless. He calculated that at his current savings rate, he'd retire with maybe $250,000. Combined with Social Security, that meant working until 70, or accepting a retirement of severe constraint. Robert decided to treat his 50s as an emergency. He increased his 401k contribution to the maximum catch-up limit immediately. He took a side consulting role that added $18,000 annually to his income, all of which went into a Roth IRA and taxable investment accounts. He sold his house, which was too large for one person, and bought a smaller condo, freeing up $80,000 in equity that he invested immediately. He stopped eating out. He canceled subscriptions he didn't use. He drove his car for 3 additional years, beyond when he'd planned to replace it. He became obsessive about the gap between his income and his spending, treating every dollar saved as a step away from the retirement he feared toward the retirement he wanted. By 55, Robert had accumulated $320,000. By 60, $615,000. By 65, $940,000. Robert retired at 66 with just over $1 million in invested assets, a paid-off condo, and Social Security benefits he delayed until 67 for maximum value. His retirement income exceeds $5,000 monthly. He travels. He helps his adult children when they need it. He volunteers. He's not rich by any extraordinary standard, but he's comfortable. He's secure. He sleeps well. The transformation happened entirely in his 50s and early 60s. The person who felt hopeless at 50 had options he didn't realize existed. Let me address the psychology that prevents people from acting decisively in their 50s. The most common barrier is the assumption that it's too late. People look at their retirement accounts, compare them to what they should have accumulated, and feel defeated. They assume the gap is unclosable. This assumption ignores the catch-up contribution advantage entirely. The person who contributes $31,000 annually from 50 to 65 contributes $465,000 in principal alone. Add employer matching and compound returns, and that 15-year period can realistically add $700,000 to $900,000 to a retirement account. That's not catching up to someone who started at 25 and saved consistently, but it's dramatically better than the alternative of giving up. The second barrier is lifestyle attachment. By 50, People have established patterns of living that feel essential rather than optional. The house feels right-sized even if it's larger than necessary. The cars feel appropriate even if less expensive options exist. The vacations feel earned even if they're depleting potential retirement savings. Changing these patterns requires acknowledging that past choices may have been mistakes. That acknowledgement is painful. Many people avoid it by convincing themselves that their current lifestyle is non-negotiable. But lifestyle is always negotiable. The question is whether you negotiate it now on your terms with time remaining to redirect the savings, or later, when retirement forces negotiation under worse conditions. The third barrier is timeline distortion. 15 years feels like a long time at 50. Retirement feels distant, abstract, someone else's problem. Then suddenly you're 60, then 63, then 65. The years collapse. The thing that felt far away is now imminent. Decisions that could have compounded for a decade can now only compound for 2 years. The timeline distortion is why people wait too late. Each year feels like it contains plenty of time for action next year until the years run out. Let me give you specific guidance based on where you currently stand. If you're in your early 50s with retirement savings below $150,000, you're behind. But the situation is not hopeless. You have 15 years of catch-up contributions available. You have time for compound growth to work. You have the opportunity to make dramatic changes to your savings rate. The priority is increasing contributions immediately to the maximum catch-up level. If you can't reach that immediately, increase by at least 3% of salary now and add another 2% every 6 months until you're maximized. Redirect any windfall, bonus, or inheritance directly to retirement accounts. Eliminate any expense that isn't essential to your well-being. The next 5 years should feel like a financial sprint, not a comfortable jog. If you're in your early 50s with retirement savings between $250,000 and $500,000, you're within striking distance of a comfortable retirement. The goal is crossing the $1 million threshold by your late 60s. Continue maximizing contributions. Eliminate mortgage debt before retirement by refinancing to a shorter term, if necessary. Maintain your current lifestyle without inflation, even as your income potentially increases. Every dollar freed up from expense reduction should flow to retirement accounts. The compounding of your existing base, plus aggressive new contributions, can realistically produce over $1 million by 67. If you're in your late 50s approaching 60, the timeline has shortened, but the catch-up contribution advantage has increased. The super catch-up provision for ages 60 through 63 allows contributions of $34,750 annually to a 401k. This is the aggressive savings window. If you haven't maximized contributions before, do it now. If you have savings outside retirement accounts, consider whether a Roth conversion strategy makes sense given your current tax bracket and expected retirement bracket. Plan for the healthcare bridge between retirement and Medicare. Model different Social Security claiming strategies to understand the trade-offs between early claiming and delayed claiming. If you're in your 60s and planning to retire within 5 years, the decisions you make now have immediate impact on your retirement quality of life. Delay Social Security if financially viable. Each year of delay between 67 and 70 increases benefits by 8%, a guaranteed return. That exceeds almost any safe investment. Plan your retirement budget in detail, based on actual expected expenses, not vague assumptions. Understand Medicare enrollment requirements and supplemental coverage options. Consider part-time work in early retirement, not out of financial necessity, but as a bridge that allows your portfolio more time to grow before heavy withdrawals begin. If you're already retired and recognizing yourself in Linda's story, focus on what remains controllable. Housing adjustments can free up significant capital and reduce ongoing expenses. Part-time work, even at modest wages, dramatically reduces portfolio withdrawal rates. Healthcare optimization can save thousands annually. The situation may not be ideal, but it's rarely as fixed as it feels. Let me walk you through the complete financial picture of what the 50s and 60s can produce when used intentionally. Consider someone who reaches 50 with $200,000 in retirement savings and decides to maximize the opportunity ahead of them. From 50 to 59, they contribute $31,000 annually to their 401k. Their employer matches 4% of their $130,000 salary, adding $5,200 per year. Total annual contributions, $36,200. Over 10 years with 7% average returns, their retirement accounts grow from $200,000 to approximately $730,000. From 60 to 63, they take advantage of the Super Catch-up provision, contributing $34,750 annually. With employer match, total annual contributions reach $39,950. Over 4 years with 7% average returns, their retirement accounts grow from $730,000 to approximately $1.1 million. From 63 to 67, they maintain maximum catch-up contributions while their portfolio continues compounding. By 67, their retirement accounts exceed $1.4 million. This person started at 50 with a concerning $200,000. Through aggressive but legally available contributions combined with reasonable market returns, they accumulated $1.4 million by 67. The Social Security decision compounds the advantage. Delaying until 70 adds approximately $800 monthly to their benefit. Combined with the $1.4 million in assets, their retirement income exceeds $80,000 annually. They're not just comfortable, they're wealthy. The difference between average growth and an intentional late career sprint represents hundreds of thousands of dollars in real autonomy. This divide isn't decided by early life choices, inheritance, or high-stakes market picking. It is forged entirely by the systemic architectural decisions made between ages 50 and 67. The generation approaching retirement often mistakenly assumes their trajectory is unalterable past midlife, treating these final working decades as an unchangeable epilogue rather than the structural climax of their financial story. Your 50s and 60s constitute the most high-leverage wealth-building window available, where targeted persistence multiplies existing assets or aggressive course corrections rebuild compromised runways from scratch. Unlocking this final compounding window requires overriding timeline distortions and deep lifestyle attachments that disguise ongoing comfort as non-negotiable. True midlife financial transitions demand a deliberate acceptance of calculated, temporary scarcity. Shifting focus from immediate consumption, matching your professional status, to purchasing long-term autonomy. High earners routinely fall into the intoxicating trap of inflating their lifestyle to match peak salary paths, absorbing critical investment capital through continuous small leaks. Catherine resisted this societal momentum by automating maximum contributions as an unalterable foundational bill, choosing systemic, predictable market exposure over emotional intuition or arbitrary sector speculation. This internal framework provides the exact financial literacy required to serve as an emotional shield against inevitable market cyclicality. When localized panics or recessions strike during late-stage wealth accumulation, uneducated intuition commands an immediate retreat into low-yield cash positions, permanently locking in devastating paper losses. True strategic execution mirrors Robert's resilience, maintaining disciplined purchasing schedules through broad market downturns to benefit exponentially from eventual macro rebounds. Conversely, treating investment platforms like unpredictable casinos by hiding in hyper-conservative, inflation-eroded funds, or chasing media-driven fads, guarantees the systematic erosion of real purchasing power. Actionable timelines depend heavily on optimizing specific guidance matching your actual baseline balance sheet. For those entering their early 50s severely behind, these final working years must serve as an aggressive financial sprint, systematically maximizing catch-up limits and liquidating bloated legacy assets. If you are within striking distance of security, the baseline architecture shifts toward eliminating structural mortgage debts, maintaining constant expenditure baselines, and modeling strategic healthcare bridges prior to Medicare eligibility. Approaching the final 5-year pre-retirement window requires evaluating guaranteed tax optimization strategies alongside precision modeling of delayed Social Security benefits. The neutrality of time guarantees these 17 years will unfold identically, regardless of whether you navigate them via active design or standard autopilot. Default passivity inevitably channels professionals into a restrictive retirement defined by persistent math anxieties, missing significant familial milestones, and experiencing structural financial paralysis. True security is built by stepping out of intuitive defaults to construct deliberate architectural models that convert compounding math into reliable, lifelong insurance. Your retirement outcome remains unwritten. The final trajectory relies entirely on the practical systems you choose to implement across the remaining runway.